It's quite stunning when I really think about it. But I have, in my uh, many years of listening to basketball debates, actually had people make the case that Tim Duncan was the player of the 2000s. Um, and you know, we've talked about why the media hates Kobe, and it's just all a part of the overall narrative to diminish Kobe's legacy. Um, and you know, if you can make a credible argument that he wasn't even the player of his prime decade, then clearly he doesn't belong in the GOAT debate. And in fact, um, in many of the top 10 lists um, that I've seen, Tim Duncan is ranked ahead of Kobe. Okay, I'd say even most of them. And this is really a stunning uh, thing to observe, because it's based upon the Tim Duncan has I believe three Finals MVPs, and he has two MVPs. So Kobe has two Finals MVPs and one MVP. But it's a very very two-dimensional way of considering basketball, and and it doesn't really appreciate um, the um, traditional metric of basketball, and that is winning. I mean, okay, fine, but you still have to get okay the MVPs and the Finals MVPs, and okay, fine, but you still have to get past five championships to three, because we're only talking about the 2000s, right? We're only talking about the year 2000 season to the year 2010 season. Kobe had five titles. Okay, one of Tim Duncan's titles was in '99, and another one was in 2014. Okay, so what matters in basketball? Uh, what matters in basketball, what basketball boils down to, is scoring and defense. Okay? Rebounding, assisting, and stealing. Those are all secondary aspects of the game. Okay? The game basically boils down to, I'm trying to score. Can you stop me from scoring? Okay? Scoring is at least 40% of basketball, maybe 50%. And the reason I say that is because the championships are dominated by great scorers. They're not dominated by great teams. They're not dominated by teams that move the ball, that had very, very evenly distributed scoring. No, they're dominated by players that could create a shot on their own. Okay? So the ability to put your team on your back is far more impactful in terms of winning a championship. And the ability to stop a player from doing that, far more impactful, okay, than in rebounding the basketball or assisting, et cetera, et cetera. So when we compare the two players, Tim Duncan uh, uh, is the, I believe, 20th leading scorer of the 2000s. 20th. I don't have the number right in front of me, but it's like 19 or 20, something like that. Okay? So that means there were 19 players of that decade that could be more reliably, that could be relied upon to score more so than Tim Duncan. Okay? Well, that's not exactly what Tim Duncan did. Or, he's defense and rebound. Okay, fine. He didn't lead the decade in rebounds. Okay? What he did do was he did have the most all defense team selections. Okay? By one. Kobe missed in the 2004-2005 season, right after Shaq left. Kobe was injured for 16 games that season. Tim Duncan made that team all 10 seasons of the decade. So Tim Duncan 10, Kobe 9. But Kobe was the number one scorer of the decade. Okay? You cannot be the player of the decade when you are the number 20 scorer and the number one scorer also has more championships. Doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. So now you may say, well, why is scoring so important to you? That's a metric that's favorable to Kobe. You're just kind of picking, a favorable statistic. Okay, fine. I want you to think about something. The Lakers and the Spurs played 26 playoff games during the 2000s. 26. The Lakers won 18 of those games. So Kobe was 18-8 against Tim Duncan. This is during the Spurs' so-called dynasty. Okay? Kobe was 18-8 against the Spurs. Furthermore, the San Antonio Spurs scored over 96 points 3 times. Let me say that again. In the 26 playoff games, the San Antonio Spurs scored over 96 points 3 times. The Lakers did it 10 times. So that's why the Lakers won 18-8. That's why the Lakers won, I think, all but one of those series during that decade. The Spurs could not rely upon Tim Duncan to take over the game. See, the difference between a 20-point per game score and a 25-point per game score basically comes down to this. 20-point per game score is going to get his points, but he's not going to take over the game. Okay? Think of, Chris Webber. Okay? It's not going to dominate the game offensively. He's going to get his points. Okay? He's not going to dominate the game. The 25-point per game scorer is the guy that can create a shot. He's going to dominate the game. He may well be able to do so. Okay? So, having a player like that is too impactful. It's too impactful. And Uh, it is for that reason that the player of the decade was, without a doubt, Kobe Bryant.